on the pop charts. Another week, another brand new number one. So short-lived for Hearsay, and that's kind of it for them. Bye. Enter Roger Sanchez. Another chance.
So this samples Toto and I Won't Hold You Back. And if you didn't know, Roger Sanchez historically is one of the biggest house DJs in the world and a huge Ibiza resident with actually the official sexiest voice on a man in the world, I think.
The S-Man. He's the S-Man, isn't he?
The S-Man, yes. So he's got a whole movement that's pretty much Superman branded, the S-Man. And it's just a massive deal. He has had tracks in the chart before this, but this is the one that broke him through. So he had a track that went to number 24 called I Never Knew, and he had a number 31 as well with I Want Your Love. And yeah, this was the one that really cemented him, and this was the one that connected with the world. It was just a massive deal back in 2001. Put him on the map.
It did. The contrast of the Toto version from 83 and this, the dance remix from 2001. I like that the lyric that he's chosen, if I had another chance tonight, etc. Yeah. Just those two lines that are repeated through the track. They take on a totally different they take on a totally different context in this version. Mm-hmm. The Toto song, if you listen to the whole thing, or even just read the lyrics of the whole thing, it's so downbeat. It's so depressing. It's so defeated. Mm-hmm. This person who's reading who's singing this Toto song is so defeated. This Roger Sanchez version of just those two lines and this new production that gives it a new life, it takes it from a very sad song to a melancholic song. Yeah. It's gone up at least a few notches. It's not happy, but it's somewhere in between now, which is transformative for me. It's transformed in more than just sonically, but also thematically too.
Yeah, I completely agree. I've put that it's very, very poignant, to the point where when I watch a music video to this, I almost cry because it's just so special. But the guitar in it, and I think the use of the guitar and bringing guitar into house music is really, really smart. So the guitar and bass is really well done. It just has one of the, like, if you've ever been out or you've been to a festival and somebody's played this and they do the silence and the dunk, dunk, bing, like that is just so simple, but it's one of the biggest moments you'll ever experience in dance music. That dun dun boom, just into it is. Yeah. But we need to play it because we need to hear it. That is a moment. That is a moment you can have with anybody.
I've got chills just talking about it and thinking about it. Mm-hmm. It's just shot through us. Yeah. You've mentioned the video. That is a very important part of it because this was big on MTV. Oh. It's what you'd call a watcher's video. It's this woman carrying a big giant red heart, and she's trying to like kind of go in places and talk to people, and they're all kind of turning her away because her heart is too big. Yeah. And it makes the heart shrink, and it makes the heart really small. Then some guy comes and says, "Oh, you've got a big heart," and she goes, "Yeah, it used to be much bigger." And there's this kind of flirtation thing, but it doesn't really happen. But she learns a lot about love. And I think the YouTube comments all kind of get the interpretation the same that I would do, is that people are kind of scared of that much affection. People are kind of scared of someone showing off that much love. Mm-hmm. And the world can't handle that sort of show of affection. So naturally we all kind of recluse ourselves, which I can see why that makes you cry, because it all leans towards like a sort of a less loving world, which is often how it feels.
Yeah, it shows you how vulnerable people are and how people don't like to feel vulnerable, and what happens whenever you do open yourself to situations, or whether it's when you open yourself to people in love, and it is the fear of getting hurt. But it's the fact that, whenever we say this is a big heart, this is a woman. And this heart that starts with is up to her shoulders. Yeah. So this is a massive heart that is from shoulder to foot. And then she tries to get it on taxis. She tries to get into club, and somebody says you can't come in. A bouncer goes, "You can't come in. Your heart's just too big." And like that moment is just like, oh shit, that's a problem with people. Yeah. Some people's hearts are too big, and that makes them vulnerable, and that makes their life difficult. And how can you have a hard life because your heart's too big? That's where people do get themselves hurt. And then she does open her mind a little bit. She has this relationship with this guy, which I'm assuming in my head it's like the next day. But so her heart shrinks. There is that conversation you've mentioned about where he goes, "That's a big heart," and she goes, "It's small now. It was bigger earlier." And he goes, "Oh, that's scary." She went, "Yes, it is." And then he sneaks around the corner. Well, he's walking around the corner to meet her the next day, and he sees her struggling down her stoop with the full-sized heart again, and he can see her full heart, and he just turns and walks away. And then it's like Groundhog Day, where she's back standing on the same corners in New York, just trying to talk to people because she's looking for love and putting herself out there and feeling vulnerable. But it is, if you've never seen the video to it, you do have to Google it, and you need to just watch that. It's something that you 100% like need in your life. It's very, very special, and it's timeless. It will always go down in history as just being one of the most amazing videos.
I am welling up a little bit. That is just thinking about it, I am actually welling up a little bit inside.
Oh.
If I want to say one more thing as well, before I just gush, because I'm going to gush, is that this all came about because he had the Toto album that this came from, just lying about in his studio. He says, I came across that line, and he began stroking his beard. He said, I don't take blatant samples generally, but lyrically it just made the track and hit something that I'd gone through. So it's come through a personal experience, but he's just found this in his studio lying about. To me, that says, and we mentioned this in our chat with Davina De Campo on Monday, is that, buying records and stuff and having a collection of stuff, that wouldn't happen if he didn't buy music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this wouldn't be in his studio. So thank God he bought that Toto record. It seems unthinkable that Roger Sanchez would have this Toto record, but thank God he did.
Yeah, and he must have had B-52's Love Shack, because I've interviewed Roger before, so he's been on my radio shows, and I remember one time he was doing promo for a track that he'd released, which oddly enough had Sarah Harding of Girls Aloud on the vocals. So she does the "We Can Get Together." So there's a big sample of that one, and it is probably a 2011, 2012 like early EDM track, and it's good. But yeah, and it shows you that like the importance of buying records and having collections and flicking through and hours of looking for things, the difference that it makes. But yeah, Roger, man with the sexiest voice. And could you, in your Geordie accent, please say Toto again for us, Liam?
Toto.
Me crying now.